What's going on, guys? We are now live. So today I'm going to be going over and answering a question I got from this week regarding the optimal body weight for vertical jump. And I'm actually going to do that by bringing up a calculation on screen so you guys can see and watch me go through some of the equations that you guys can test it on your own. I'm going to put the link to that website in the description if you want to check it out. But it's a pretty cool calculator to use if you want to just see your velocity and force output to how much you need to output in order to reach a certain vertical. So I'm going to be starting off by going over that. And then I'll also be answering other questions from this week, including questions regarding have I ever had back pain when squatting, or other questions regarding vertical jump and vertical plateau. So I'm going to start off by switching my screen really quick, and then I will start with the calculation. So this is a pretty cool website, actually. If you guys, again, this will be in the description, but it's just a way to calculate if you have a goal to reach a desired vertical. You can input here your weight, your height. You could test out different knee angles, and then it'll give you a result here based on how much velocity you would need, how much force you need to output in order to reach that desired vertical. But I want to first show you guys like what is embedded in that calculator, and this is basically a physics equation with mass. It's basically a free fall equation with mass, air resistance, time, and free fall distance. So that's probably the equation that's embedded in this calculator. I just wanted to show where this calculator might have came from. I'm gonna close out of that. Yeah, so I'm just gonna play with this calculator. If you guys want to throw out anything in the chat, like if you guys want me to test a certain vertical for you guys, so you guys can see how the results might change. But the main thing I wanted to show with this, because this might not be the most accurate calculator to use in order to find your results, but I just want to show how it changes, how these results change based on the weight change. Because again, that was a question that I had from this week, was what's the most optimal weight to for vertical jump. So I'm going to show how it changes based on your desired vertical. So I set a goal a few months ago to reach a 50-inch vertical. So I'm just going to test that one and show you guys how it changes if my weight were to change. So I'm going to put my weight right now at my current weight, which is 163, and then I'm going to set the vertical to 50 inches, and then my height is 5'7", and then I'm going to leave the knee angle at 60 degrees. So we're going to see, 1 second here, I'm going to check the chat really quick before I finish this calculation. Hey, what's up, Brawl Bro? He said, how long is this stream going to be? It's probably going to last about an hour or so, 45 minutes to an hour. But yeah, so if you have any questions, just let me know in the chat. Sorry, I saw that my OBS software thing was blinking, so I just wanted to check that. But I'm going to go back to the calculator really quick. Okay. Alright, so I have my desired vertical set at 50 inches, my height at 5'7", my weight at 163 pounds, and the angle at 60 degrees. So we're going to see how that changes. Okay, so for me to reach a 50-inch vertical at 5'7", this just reset to 6 feet. With a 60-degree knee angle at 163 pounds, I would need to get to a velocity of 4.99 meters per second and output a force of 6,733 newtons, or right here 1,513.7 pounds of force. So I'm going to see how that changes if my weight were to drop, say, 3 pounds. Let's say I was 160 pounds with the same knee angle. So just remember that number, 513 pounds of force if I were at my current weight, 163 pounds, wanting to reach a 50-inch vertical. So I'm going to change that now to 160 pounds at the same height, 5'7", same desired vertical, 50 inches at the same knee angle. So 1,513 now becomes 1,400 and about 86 pounds of force. So you could basically say that's about a 50-pound difference in the amount of force I would need to output in order to reach a 50-inch vertical if I drop 3 pounds. So, to answer the question, what's the optimal weight to be at if you want to reach a certain vertical jump? It would be to be at a lower weight but be able to output more force. So basically being stronger at the weight that being stronger at a lesser weight compared to being stronger at a greater weight. Because then, as you guys just saw here with the results, that you'll be able to output less force and reach the same vertical if you were the same strength, but weighed less. So that's just what I wanted to mess with this calculator. If you guys wanted to again check this calculator out and play with it for yourself, you could check the link in the description below. And again, you can change the knee angles. Changing the knee angles also changes these results. And I also wanted to show how this kind of had a practical application. When I did the vertical jump analysis, that was actually one of the things they said, is that either I can have a greater takeoff velocity, so increase my takeoff velocity, which when I did this test, it was 4.74. So that shows if I increased that velocity to 4.99, then that would result in an increased vertical. Or apply a greater amount of force, which as you guys just saw, I would need to apply a greater amount of force than when I did this test to reach a 50-inch vertical, because at this time it was my vertical wasn't 50 inches, so the force would also have to go up. So yeah, that's just basically a practical application, and what I wanted to show you guys. If you guys want to play with this calculator to see and calculate your guys' weight, or your guys' desired vertical based on your weight and height and different knee angles. So I'm going to switch screens really quick again and check the chat. Noel to the Joel said that he was on that the other day. Yeah, I just found this actually when I was doing research for this Q&A, and I just found I found that first calculator I showed, and it didn't seem like it was giving the best results, and I found that the other one was just easier to use and more just more like user friendly. So I just went to that one. I thought it was more useful. But that's cool. Noel to the Joel, they use that. And I also wanted to show just one more thing before I answered other questions from this week. This other website that I thought was pretty helpful. Noel to the Joel, I was on one that was telling me how many inches I needed. Yeah, I think you can also play with that calculator to have it calculate how many inches you needed. But that one I just thought was useful to find, or to see the differences in your velocity and force output based on the differences in weight. Because I had a couple questions from the week that were asked about optimal weight regarding vertical. So it wasn't necessarily how many inches you needed, but how much weight you should be at to get to that vertical. Okay, I'm going to go back to this screen, and this is another website that I found. I know it's just a men's fitness article, but I just thought it was a very simple read and general breakdown of describing ways that you can increase your velocity, increase your force, because basically vertical jump is arguably the greatest expression of power that somebody can display, because I mean the equation for power is just force times velocity. So as you guys just saw, those were the two variables that were in the resulting equation. So if you increase your force, if you increase your velocity, then you're going to increase your power, which, as you guys saw, will lead to an increased vertical. So yeah, so this just goes through and talks about a few of the keys in how to increase your vertical and how to increase that power result. So here you have boost your strength, store your force, and release it. So something I wanted to talk about was storing your force and releasing it. That can just be based on efficiency. So how well you output the force that you are able to develop before you actually go into your vertical. So that just comes with practicing your technique, looking at your form, and just basically just taking time to analyze your vertical jump, and then analyze your technique, and then work to improve that so you can output the greatest amount of force possible when you guys are dunking or jumping or working out or anything like that. And then right here, number 3, getting technically sound. So again, just optimizing movement so you can have the most efficient vertical. So yeah, but again, to answer that question, the most optimal weight to increase your vertical jump, there is no like set weight. It's just based on your strength and your current force output, your current velocity. But generally speaking, as that calculation showed, if you weighed less but can still output the same force or velocity that you're at right now, then your vertical is gonna increase. So I'm gonna go back now to. Okay, so what I wanted to do now was just answer questions from this week. And let's see, I have quite basketball. Okay, let's see here. Noel to the Joel said, I'm 5'8" and a half, and I touched rim for the first time a couple days ago. I'm 14. That's awesome, Noel to the Joel. You probably need maybe like 5 more inches before you get there, but for already touching rim at 14, that's really good. Let's see, Basketball Johnny said, hey, speaking of power-weight relation, I am doing calisthenics by myself. You see that very good calisthenics athletes are super strong and can master movements that bodybuilders can't do. Yeah, I've actually gone through not a phase of calisthenics, Basketball Johnny, but I've incorporated a lot of calisthenic type of workouts with my strength training, like when I went through like more of a strength phase. So yeah, those are really good exercises to do because they're just, like you said, it works like body control and body movement. So optimizing those movements. That's really good. Brabro said, my running vert is only 3 inches higher than my standing vert. What should I work on? Well, if you're so I've been asked about that before, and the way I look at that is if your running vert is only 3 inches higher than your standing vert, then you might need to work on speed more than force, like more than strength. So maybe like working on sprints or other like acceleration drills, or just working on your approach, like your technique, just getting that faster. Can help with that. Let's see. Basketball Johnny said, however, they look skinnier and are lighter than people that lift weights. Even calisthenics athletes that are super strong and super explosive are not very bulked up. Yeah, that's what I've noticed about a lot of even dunkers and like high jumpers. They're not a lot of them are bulky. They're just really lean and have really low body fat. It looks like they have really low body fat percentage. But like you said, they still have a lot of muscle, but they're not bulked. I think so. Calisthenics is the best way to train upper body in order to jump higher. It does take a lot of time and progress. That's a downside, but I love training and I'm willing to put in the work. Yeah, calisthenics is really just a full body approach. Brawl bro, nice Joel. I'm 5'7" and I'm 2 inches away. Noel to the Joel said, did I play basketball in high school? Yeah, so I played basketball in high school for 3 years, and then didn't play my senior year, but then I didn't start working on my vertical or jumping specifically until I was a freshman in college, and that's actually when I got my first dunk was at 19, so yeah, I didn't really work on vertical or anything until I got to college. Okay, so I wanted to answer another question from this week. I'm going to bring them up right here. One of them was from Instagram from Justin. He said, have I ever had back pain after a tough squat day? And if you guys have followed my YouTube channel, probably in the past 4 months or 5 months, I actually injured my back from squatting, and it put me out of jumping or doing any type of jump training for probably about a month because I just had to work on improving my mobility and then improving my form. So that was really a point that I took to kind of like reevaluate my workouts, reevaluate how I was squatting specifically. So yeah, that was the point where I had pain for weeks after squatting with the wrong form and just really hurting my back. So that was one of the times that I experienced that. Samuel said, "Hi Michael, how effective do you think squat jumps are for building power?" I think squat jumps are really good for rate of force development because you're having to overcome the bar in like a really short amount of time. But recently somebody just pointed out to me that it might not be the best to do squat jumps with a barbell on your back because of the pressure it puts on your vertebrae. So Maybe I mean I've only done barbell squat jumps 2 or 3 times, but I've done dumbbell squat jumps a lot more. So it might be better to do either trap bar or dumbbell squat jumps so that the bar isn't directly on your spine. Yeah, I think they are effective. But doing them more in a reactive sense. So doing that, so focusing on doing them faster rather than doing like a deep squat and then exploding up, but just doing it more reactive and for speed. Noel to the Joel said, "I don't even play ball. I play football, but I'm gonna try out for basketball." Well, I mean that's good. I mean football. I feel like you build more explosive power. I mean from the workouts and from the training and from the sport itself, you build more explosive power being a football player. So that could have some transfer into your vertical for basketball. Lewis said, "You only train to gain strength in the past, or do you always do strength with plyo? What about periodization?" So Lewis, so in the past, so like when I first started out training, just like working out, I was like 12 or 13, and I only focused on strength, but I was still playing basketball. Like I still was in the sport, so I was getting plyometric training from basketball conditioning, from doing stairs, from sprinting, from just playing in games. So I still had the plyometric side, but my focus at the time was more on strength and just getting stronger because I was really small back then. So that was my main focus, was strength in the past. So it's only been a recently where I've been really focusing on combining those with like contrast training. But yeah, so back then it was just more strength, but I was still doing plyos because I was playing basketball. But recently it's been like incorporating both in my training specifically. But I haven't really, I wouldn't label it periodization, but I've gone through different phases of like strength specific, more speed specific, more plyometric specific, and then combining those two with contrast. So I mean, I guess if you want to call that periodization, but nothing where it's like I've been tracking this for this many weeks, and then after this many weeks is up, I go to this. It's not like that. Um, Again, it's not. It's just like it's not that specific. So I wouldn't put that label on it. Brawl Bro, thoughts on deloading week? I think those are definitely necessary if you're in like a really if you're in a higher volume or heavy strength or just like a heavy plyometric or just anything that's wearing your body down. I think a deload week is definitely helpful. When I was in like that strength phase that I just called it a few months ago before summer, I did have a deload week incorporated with that. So I think it would be like 10 days of just heavy lifting and more power movements, and then it would just be a deload week of working more speed with a lighter load. So yeah, I think those are definitely useful. Brawl Bro said, "What's the biggest thing you learned while training your vert?" That's a good question. The biggest thing I've learned while training my vert. That's a really good question, Bro. I mean, I've learned a lot of things, but I think most of all, in terms of training, I've learned how to optimize and make my body more efficient. So how to use power more efficiently, how to use speed more efficiently, how to use strength more efficiently. Because I've realized that if I want my vertical to increase at all, then I have to optimize. I have to optimize my movement. I again have to optimize strength. I have to optimize nutrition, recovery. So just optimizing, I guess, those parts, those other aspects of life, and then also training, training in general. Because it's like I feel like when you get to a certain point, and I feel like when you get to a certain point with your vertical, then it could seem like you're at a plateau point, and that you might not get past this point. So for me, I was like looking at those times, and then analyzing, how can I change this, or how can I get past this, so I could still make improvements. And for me, it started that started to happen by doing my own research, by analyzing my technique, my weaknesses, strengths, and just really focusing on those things, and then breaking it down to how can I improve that, how can I improve this. So yeah, so just those things in general. Samuel said, "All right, thanks for the detailed response. May I know what is your current running vertical jump?" Oh yeah, anytime, Samuel. My current running vertical jump is about 40 inches, so it could have gone up since the last time I tested it. But actually, I wanted to test that. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm gonna go back to that calculator really quick because I wanted to see the difference in force that I would need from going from a 40-inch vertical to a 50. So with that 50-inch vertical at 160 pounds, I'm gonna write it down. The force was 1,480. Okay, so 1,486 pounds of force. So at a 40-inch vertical, 5'7", 163. So at a 40-inch vertical, 163 pounds. The current, so this would be more theoretically like my current force output would be about 1,200 pounds of force. So 1,211. Let's see. So I would need to gain about 270 pounds of force, and I didn't see what the velocity was in that last one, but I'm going to assume it'll also increase my velocity at the same time. Well, yeah, based on that power equation, I would have to increase my velocity. I don't know why this keeps doing this, but switch back. Okay. Lewis said, "You really improve your jump with training, or you are genetic good jumper. An average person with 12% body fat with good training can jump 40 inches." All right, see you later, bro. No, Lewis. So yeah, my vertical hasn't always been. I haven't always been able to dunk. I haven't always been able to touch rim, and I haven't always been coordinated. Like when I played like AAU basketball or basketball in high school, like I played like B team bench, and AAU I didn't really play that much either, and I was at that time I was like watching guys who were like the same age as me. They were dunking, they were already dunking, or they were like really close to dunking. And I remember I would just like sit there and watch that and be like, wow, like I'm not even close. But it was always in my head that I was going to reach that point. So yeah, no, I was never, I wasn't always like a good jumper, and I wasn't. I didn't always like train to jump or anything, but it was just like always the thought. So really, I just improved it with just focusing on jump training specifically and technique and all that stuff. He said an average person with 12% body fat with good training can gain 40 inches. Yeah, I believe that an average person with those parameters can reach a 40-inch vertical. It might for different people depending on your training again and focus and consistency and all that it might take a little longer than somebody else, but I still think it can happen. That's the thing, is like it takes time, and it also takes that attention to detail of like, when am I plateauing? Okay, when does my body feel like it needs to recover? Like when does it feel like I'm doing too much volume? Just little things like that might get overlooked in training. When you get to a certain point, and then at that point you might think, oh, I've reached my max, or I've reached like the peak of my vertical, and that's going to be it. But really, I just think that more needs to be looked at, and then you need to continue to add variation to your training, and continue to test your body in ways that you haven't, so that way it has something to adapt to. Because when you reach that point that seems like a plateau, I feel like it's a point that your body is just adapted to that point that you've reached, but then you just need to make it adapt even more. So again, adding more variation to your workout at that point, or your training. Okay, I'm gonna bring up another question, or more questions from this week. I had another one from Garrett197 on Instagram. He said, let's see. Oh, he actually, one of his questions was, how do you break vertical plateaus? But I just kind of answered that. And then he said, also, how do you find weaknesses that are holding you back? So that's a good question on how to find weaknesses that are holding you back. So for me, finding weaknesses that are holding me back just really takes, well, I mean, the easy way to do it would be to do like single limb type of exercises, like single leg exercises, single arm exercises, and just trying to pinpoint like what parts of your body are your weaker points, like which ones are slower, which ones do you feel like you can't that you're not as strong with. So finding those points, and then also looking at mobility, looking at again nutrition technique or nutrition for recovery technique, just things like that to help, or that can help maybe improve from where you're at right now or at that point. I mean, and like for example, like a way to like how can you find a weakness in your technique? Well, like a good something you can do is record your technique and then watch for maybe where your takeoff point is, how fast you're taking off, like are you leaning too far forward, are you jumping more horizontal than vertical, does your arm swing look slow, like timing to jump to the rim, like stuff like that you can look at just from recording yourself. So that'd be one example. Samuel asks, have you ever tried doing over eccentric kettlebell swings? If so, what are your thoughts? Yeah, I have done. Or do you mean over eccentric or over concentric swings? So I believe I've done over concentric swings with the resistance band. Unless that could also be considered over eccentric. I'm just gonna look at okay. Over eccentric kettlebell swings. Okay, yeah, that would be banned. Okay, that would be banned. Okay, yeah, I have done over eccentric. I was thinking about it differently. I have done over eccentric kettlebell swings. Yes. And what are my thoughts on it? I think it's a good full body movement that mimics, or that really closely mimics like the movement that you do in a vertical jump. So I think they are really useful in training. And I think I've incorporated them before in like in that strength phase that I went through. I incorporated those over eccentric kettlebell swings. But yeah, so I mean I think they are really helpful if you haven't done them before. Again, I think any exercise related to improving your movement, or improving just like motion in general, I think can be useful. Because it adds variation to your training, and again it tests your body to adapt to something new. So whether it's over eccentric kettlebell swings, or just starting plyometric workouts, or doing some type of skips, or doing like box squats versus normal squats, just it's adding variation to your workout in general. So I think any of that can be useful. I think I'm going to end this Q&A soon. I didn't do any studies or anything in this Q&A, but I just wanted to show that calculator. If you guys wanted to again look into that website for yourself, I'll put the link in the description after this Q&A. But it could just be really useful. Again, maybe not taking it for 100% accuracy, but just seeing the difference that would be needed for. That would be needed in your training if you want to reach a certain vertical based on your current weight or based on a different weight. So just a fun calculator to see like what would need to happen. And I feel like it just puts it in very simple. It puts it like in very simple terms in terms of like how to think about vertical jump. I feel like it's easy to think that vertical jumping could be something like really complex because of like all these programs or all these different types of training, or all these different ways of working out that you can do to improve it. I feel like it just I feel like it shows how simple vertical jumping really is when you get down to it. That it's just how much power can you output in a specific amount of time. So again, I think that calculator really does it really just shows what it takes simply to get to a certain vertical in terms of just force and velocity. how you get there. It just that's what working out is. The tools to get to that power output. Frey said, have you tried the PJF explosiveness workout? No, I haven't tried the PJF performance explosiveness workout, but I have watched the videos that he's posted on YouTube. I've tried one of the exercises from that, which is actually it was like a depth jump to a like a side bound. So I have tried that, but I haven't tried like his full workouts or anything, because I think to get access to any of his like full explosiveness workouts, you have to subscribe, or you have to pay for the vertical jump program. I think it's I think Phrase, you commented that it's like a monthly payment to actually get access to his full workout. So I haven't like bought that program or anything to actually do those workouts, but I've just watched the videos and stuff. But yeah, I think I'm going to end the Q&A soon. If you guys have any more questions, just put them in the chat. But I wanted to end with, if you guys didn't see my thank you to 1,000 for reaching 1,000 subscribers, I just wanted to say it on here again. So thank you guys. If you guys have been subscribed from the beginning, thank you, or have just recently subscribed, or just like to watch the videos, just thank you for watching and you know, maybe getting something helpful from the videos, or just again watching for entertainment, or again have subscribed. Just thank you. And yeah, what Frey said, it just seems nice, but I haven't seen any unbiased reviews of it. Oh, okay. Yeah, again, I haven't tried it. I haven't bought it or anything. So have you tried it, Phrase? I thought you commented that you said that you tried it, or you were thinking of trying it. Okay, you were thinking of trying it. Yeah, let me know. I mean, let me know if you try it. But I've actually, somebody else commented or messaged me on Instagram and said that they've used PJF, and I think they asked a similar question about PJF and if I've used it or if I've found that it's helpful. But I think they said they tried it for like 3 months or something, and then they stopped using it. But okay, so you've watched the videos and implemented some of the drills too. Yeah, that's the crazy explosive series. That's the one I've been watching. I've watched the 3 videos he's posted. I think he just posted another one, but yeah. All right, guys. I just want to thank you. I'm gonna end the live stream here. I want to thank you again for watching, and thank you guys again on helping me get to 1,000 subscribers. There's gonna be a lot more to come, so stay tuned, and I will see you guys later.